Hello everyone, it's Artisan Tony, and what's funny is that I went live before lunchtime. I'm on Eastern Standard Time here, so it's like 3:16. But before lunch, I did all this, and I thought I was live, and I went back and checked, and it was set to private. So, like a goober, I left my live stream on private so no one could comment or whatever. So this is going to be part two of a series where I try to convince people that shipping containers make no sense. And the only time the thing I like about people is if they're going to say something negative about a system or a thing, then I'll offer an alternative. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not just going to say they make no sense. I'm going to show you how you can build something a little bit bigger. And if you want something that looks like a shipping container, I'm going to show you how you can do that, make it bigger and save money at the same time. So this option right here is going to be kind of like if you were to go out in the woods and take your shipping container out and you came up with some kind of, pier, sonotube foundation. And so what I thought I would do, let me turn off the wall framing, and this is our floor, subfloor. We got way too many layers in here. I create some, and the extensions I use create some layers, so it's a mess sometimes, floor, subfloor. So I wanted to get back to this point right here where I show how easy it would be to frame up a floor system just using 12-foot 2x10s. Now that brings me to my first point about this is that it's hard to live in a container, okay? The inside dimensions of a container are like 8 feet. And by the time you add your framing to be able to get your insulation requirements, you're down to almost 7 feet. I'm a short guy, and I can almost reach end to end. I can spread out my arms and almost touch the walls. As a matter of fact, we had a guy who used to work with us. He was a homeless guy, and I was trying to help him get on his feet. He was like 6'6", and his wingspan was almost 7 feet. I mean, he could stand in a room and almost reach from wall to wall in a small house. But anyway, to me, if you're going to build a small home, a tiny home, make it 12 feet wide. And I'm going to show you why. The main reason is because of efficiency. Because when you start buying joists, like 2x10 joists, you will find that they will easily span 12 feet. They'll actually span like 14 feet, but I think 12 feet is keeping close to the dimensions of a container. And also this would be very strong because they'll actually span a little more than this. Now if you're going to do this foundation on a pier system like this, you would have to double, your outside band, your header joist would have to be doubled. It becomes a beam that spans between these, and then you also, would have to put joist hangers on your joist. Let me see if anybody's joining us. Okay, I'll check comments often. And of course where's my foundation? I actually like poured concrete foundations. So, and there's a gap there because I haven't put the plate. There would be a treated plate that goes on top of this foundation. I haven't done that yet. I was just going to show some options on the foundation. And of course you would have an access, you'd form in an opening for access to get under the floor and all that. I actually like the poured concrete, and you'd have vents, foundation vents. But if you don't want to go through all that, you'd have some kind of pier system, and most people would just use sonotubes. Now this is kind of mimicking, a slope of about 8 feet on 40. Well, it's more like it's about 8 feet on like 60 feet, which is not a terrible slope. But unless you're gonna, unless you're gonna find a very flat area, which doesn't exist, contrary to the internet, some internet cults, the Earth is not very flat at all. And when you actually go out to build something, you find out how not flat the Earth is. Even if you had a flat yard, a flat lot you thought was flat, and you went out to like form up a concrete slab, you would see, wow, it's like 16 inches on one end and 8 on the other. When you start paying for concrete for a slab, you realize how out of flat the Earth is. But anyway, so the reason I was showing you this option is because I am going to do an option where you have a slab on there. But for now, I'm going to do this one. And I had a question earlier from a viewer earlier today on one of my other videos about wall sheeting. And I do want to let James know I'm going to get to that here just a little bit. Be a little patient with me. I just wanted to kind of go through the phases. And then what we're going to do is when we're done, we're going to add up all these. We're going to count the joist and all of our band and everything. And we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to check the prices. And we're going to see how much framing we can actually get. And for this square footage, I'm guessing for the price of a container itself, I could probably frame up a bigger, more comfortable home, more comfortable tiny home. So, but anyway, after your floor framing, you would have your subfloor. Where's my subfloor? Again, I don't normally have this many layers. It's funny. You would have your Advantech there, which is pretty common nowadays, and so very efficient. You would have 3 sheets wide, that's 12 feet, and 8 feet, or 5 pieces long, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, by the way, this is 12 by 40. I don't really like the 40-foot length. I think that's probably too long for a tiny house. What I would normally do is make the house more of a shorter rectangle, but so it didn't take up so much of a footprint. Because you can see, and these sonotubes wouldn't be this long, obviously, but you can see that the longer your building is, the more it's going to come off the ground if you have a slope. So typically when we're designing for a lot, we look at the slope and we take all that into consideration. But then we would go to our wall framing, and this is where we get into setting the plates back. This is a question that a fellow named James had earlier, and I told him I would look at it in this video. So what we do is we set our walls back a 1/2 inch so that the wall sheeting can set. That's funny, I got the Tyvek turned on that one, but so that it can set flush with the band that you're framing. Okay, the reason we do that is there's several reasons. First of all, it's kind of a waste of material if you set the wall out. If you set the framing even with the band and the OSB hangs over, then you've got to fur out this band. So that's extra OSB that you got to rip, and you might not think that's a lot, but that's basically 12 inches times 40. If you got 8 times, you get 32. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's another 4 sheets of OSB. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to cut it. You got to rip it down. You got to nail it on, and then you create this weird joint here. In any event, it's not necessary. The other issue is bracing, wall bracing. The function of your OSB is to be nailed, and this extension I'm using, which is Medique wall extension, how I draw these walls, and I'm going to draw some walls in a minute with it, so you'll see how it works. But it doesn't draw the joints in the plywood, the OSB. Back when I was a kid, we used plywood. Now we use OSB 48. So that would be, that would be where your first joint is. So the point here is that OSB is required to be nailed on all four edges. Okay, and if you drop, and this was a question I got also. He was saying that some carpenters drop this down. Well, it would be, well, yeah, the wall. First of all, the wall in his scenario, the wall would be moved out, a half inch, and then it would be moved down. They would move it down here. I probably should just move the whole wall because I'm going to demonstrate something here. Let me let's see if I can just move the whole wall. I don't want to mess up my, I guess I've already done it. Oh, no, I am moving it. Cool. Okay. So, if the OSB is out here, you can see I've scooted that whole wall out. And it wouldn't be out that far. Sorry about the scrolling. It would be right here, basically. Then, and if it was dropped down, let's drop this down. Okay. You would have this gap up here. You see, the reason that OSB is 8 feet long is because it works out with your walls. Now, your wall is 8'1" and 1/8, and your studs are 92 5/8. Okay, so by the time you nail a bottom plate and then a double, 2 top plates, and the reason we have 2 top plates is to overlap walls at the corners, so and intersecting walls, so that it's very strong. But by the time you add that 4.5 inches to 92 5/8, you get 8'1" and 1/8, and what that does is allow you enough room to put, like 3/4 of an inch, say, hardwood flooring, and then half inch to 3/4 inch ceiling material, and still have an 8-foot ceiling. But so you should see here, OSB is not made to span. The edges won't span between studs. Okay, you have to nail it at a minimum of 8 inches on center. That's in the field. You're supposed to nail it 6 inches on center around the edges. Okay, so there would be 2 nails out here. There would be nothing to nail to. Okay, and you would have to block. You would have to put blocking between. If a building inspector caught you doing this, you would have to put blocking between the studs just to have a nail. That would be a good building inspector. One who didn't care would just say, that's cool. But let's see if we have any questions. Okay, no questions or comments. So the reason we don't let the OSB hang down, over the band like this is because of that reason. The purpose of the sheeting is actually to provide bracing for the wall. There are many different types of wall sheeting. Back in the old days, we used what was called blackboard. It was sort of a crappy, lightweight, impregnated with asphalt looking. That's why we call it blackboard. And we would put it was like an insulation board. We would put plywood on the corners, and then we would put that stuff in the field, in between the corners. Now OSB is so cheap that we just put it, let's move this back up. Then we just put it on the entire house, and it's actually very strong. It makes the house very strong, and your strength axis in OSB is vertically. In other words, let's move the wall back. Let's go back to where the wall's back there. So The reason we don't install the OSB horizontally is also the reason, it's the same reason. We would have to block between the studs at 4 feet all the way, wasting material and labor. The labor on installing blocking between every stud is you know, I can frame up these walls. I could frame up probably all these walls in the same amount of time that I just ran blocking between one wall. Okay, so it's a lot of labor. It's a lot of cutting for no reason. Okay, and we follow best practices and the way manufacturers recommend or actually stipulate how things are built or their materials to be used, and therefore we save time and money because all of these edges now, I would have a joint here. This extension doesn't put joints in the plywood, but every 4 feet I would have a joint, and there would be a stud or the top plate or the bottom plate all the way around this sheet, and they would be nailed 6 inches around the edges and then 8 inches in the 2 studs that are in the field in the middle of the sheet. So that's how that's done, and that's why we put our sheets the way we do. They're designed, and I was going to go back to the strength axis. When you put up a sheet of OSB, you have this diagonal bracing effect here, okay? Because of the way it's nailed, this would replace the old style diagonal bracing that we used to put in walls. Back in the old days when I first started in 1978, we would cut in, take a 1x4 and notch in the studs, notch it into the studs so it was flush, right? And that was our wall bracing because we would, like I said, we would put that crappy sheeting up on the outside and it provided no strength. There was no lateral bracing that way. We had to put those corner braces up. Now in the 80s, they came out with these metal straps that we would put up. They were 10 feet long, and we would just nail them up here and then bring them down here and nail them onto where they just fit, and then we would nail them off at each stud. But those were kind of crappy because they were face nailed to the studs. They'd make your drywall lumpy sometimes if you didn't get them nailed good and flat. But when OSB came out and we started using it, that was the answer. It gave us our sheeting, it gave us our bracing for our walls. Now the code also has requirements for shear walls, and that means I think it's like 30 feet. I'll have to go look. And we don't, it's rare that you see a 40-foot wall by itself without any kind of intermediate wall, and that's what we're going to do here in just a little bit. We're going to put up some bedroom walls and closet walls. All those interior walls act as sort of shear walls. In other words, these big long walls, when they're hit with wind, they'll want to deflect inward, and basically bounce around like a drum. Those interior walls will act like if you don't have interior walls, you would actually have to put several shear walls. I'm pretty sure they have to be at least 4 feet long. You would have to enter this into your design in some way or other to get them in here. You couldn't just build this 40-foot wall uninterrupted, length. You would have to have shear wall. Either that, or you would have to come and make a section of this wall. I think it's like 4 feet every 30 feet, something like that. Would have extra bracing in it. There's different ways to obtain your bracing, but the easiest way is just to, have a decent plan where you have, some interior walls, and then have your OSB on the outside. Now already you can see that this 12 feet is going to give you a standard living space inside. And I promise you, when we add up all these materials, I saw my camera flash. Did I lose my camera? I saw the light on my camera flash. That's weird. So I hope that answers the question of the sheeting. The other thing we don't do is we don't let the corners overlap each other. This is the way it's done. The sheeting is just nailed. It just comes to the corner of the stud. You can't really get close enough. But if you try to let this lap over that one or vice versa, first of all, you screw up your layout, because when you were laying out your studs, the layout is from the end of the wall, right? So you'd be a ½ inch off on your layout. The other reason is because if you were to let one of these hang over past the other, you inevitably would have a lumpy corner, because if this is one of them's a cut edge, you're going to have a lumpy. We just don't do that. It saves. It makes a crisper corner when you go to start putting on like your corner trim. You don't have anything there getting in the way. So if you have a corner board, it wraps nicely around the corner, and you don't have any lumpy stuff overlapping there. So. And of course, the main reason I think is the layout issue. So what I was going to do is, the other issue I wanted to bring up was that this option right here. I was trying to show people. I think the point I made with this one was to get your insulation requirements inside. I think this framing is actually even bigger. If you were to put this framing on the inside, I think I used the exterior dimension of the can, the rust bucket. Let's see. Yeah, you see, you would have even less than, you would have about 7 feet basically inside, which is just really not enough room to live. I mean, what you're doing is you're spending more money on something that forces you to have an uncomfortable living space. It's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. People, humans need a certain amount of space to live in, and I've determined that 12 feet is an optimal. That's the best width for a tiny home. I think 12 feet is the key. That's based on many years of building floor systems with just one span of joist that will span that far, and you want to stretch out your joist in an efficient manner. There's no reason. Imagine this. If I had made this 10 feet instead of 12 feet, I would still have to use 2x10s, and I would still have to buy 3 sheets of OS or Advantech to get that width. You see, if I go 12 foot, I've just bought a 12-foot joist, and if I'm buying 3 sheets, it'll cover 12 feet. You see, you got to think about efficiency and the amount of space that you're going to need. The other thing that's kind of a really misleading, the biggest thing that's misleading about container homes, and I had this plan, I took it, I guess, somewhere off the internet. They're showing these, you can see here, this bed basically takes up this entire bedroom, which is ridiculous. And these bedrooms don't even meet code. I'm pretty sure if you checked, the code requires at least 75 square feet for the first person and 50 square additional feet. So you're talking about 125 square feet for a 2-person room. This room is only 7 feet by, what are they calling it here? Well, you can imagine it would have to be over 12 feet. It would have to be very long. So these rooms don't meet actual code. And you can get by with this stuff if you're out, in a rural area where there's no building codes. But if you're going to be in an area where there's building codes, you're going to have minimum standards to follow. And so I thought what I would do is just turn on this layer I've got called Plan. And I'm going to lay out some, I'm going to turn off the Advantech so it doesn't interfere. And I thought I would just lay out some rooms. Let me see if there's any questions so far. No questions. Am I private again? I'm not. this morning, it was so frustrating. I did this once, and I had it set on private, and so the whole time I was thinking, what? Not one person wants to see me rant about container homes. It's kind of funny. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this on the fly, okay? I haven't really thought about this, but I think in my head, I think I've come up with a pretty decent plan. And I think a bedroom, for me, a minimum bedroom is 10 by 12, okay? Let me just double click. I've got this floor. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to come over here 10 feet. And I'm going to come over 4.5 inches. I'm going to make the interior walls 4.5. That's you know, 2x4 stud with drywall on both sides. And let's see though, you know what? This I think this extension only draws. I'm gonna draw them 3.5 for right now. I'm just gonna draw the framing dimensions for right now, 3.5. Now that means I would normally add that 1/2 inch, but that's getting kind of nitpicky, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Okay, so now that would be our bedroom. Okay, that's a decent sized room. And if you're going to live in a tiny house, it's not like you're going to have 6 kids in this place, okay? And you'll see in a minute, the idea I've got for the living area is kind of a multifunctional area. So the other thing is, we would need a bathroom. You actually would need a closet. I haven't quite thought this through. I think I was going to run the bathroom 5 feet this way. Or actually, no, it would have to run the 8 foot. I always like, my bathroom's 8'6". Now that might be a little bit big for this, but you need, I like to have a 30-inch, at least a 30-inch vanity. See how small that looks? And then you know, you have to have at least, I think I do 36. Let's do 36. Oh, I know what happened. That line wasn't right. That's what it was. And then we'll do 30 inches for the toilet. For some reason, I've got a new computer coming, but this one's all screwed up. And then let's see. This would be, yeah, you could probably get by. I like my 8'6", okay? I'm going to leave it at that for right now, unless I have to move it over. So you'd have vanity, you know, 36-inch vanity, 30 inches for the toilet, and your tub width. And then your tub would be 5 feet this way, okay? And then you'd have another 3.5-inch wall, okay? So that's that. Now let's see, we'd want at least a 3. I was going to try to work out a closet here. We're really supposed to have a 3 foot, 36. Oh, I think it's going to work out. Yeah. Let's make that, let's see if we just come 2 feet for our closet. Yeah, we can get a little bit bigger hallway, and that's what we need to do, because the hallways get kind of, how much difference is there? 8 inches. Let's make this 40. When you've got a long hallway, let's see, 3 foot 40. What would that leave us? 3.5. And I'm not looking for, you know, your standard closet is 2 feet. That gives me 2 feet 1. All right, let's leave it like that. I like having this hallway here a little bit wider than normal because, you know, if you've got a couple of people, somebody trying to go into the restroom, somebody trying to get into the closet. And then what we would do So we go ahead and have a door on there. Let's see, I don't want to draw too many lines. What are they spinning around? I don't want to draw too many lines until I see if I've got enough room to get my kitchen in that I want to do. So then I would have a counter here. It'd be 25 and then 25 off here. I always like to account for that 1-inch overhang. And then this would be, you'd want to come back, yeah, 5 feet. You'd want to just come to there with your cabinets. You want to go 3-inch increments. And in this direction, let's see, before I go that direction, I want to have about, it'd be nice to have at least 10 feet coming back this way too. 10 feet. Yeah, that's going to be a nice little area. Not bad. And then this, we want to go 3-inch increments. So what is that? 7 foot 10. That's 84, 94. So let's just go 90. And then we'd go back, and that would be our countertops. So I feel pretty comfortable now in trying to draw my walls in. Yeah, because what's going to happen is I'm going to have bedroom, bathroom, closet, and then you'd have a little space for an eating table right here. Then all this will be living area, and I'm going to try to work in a wood stove probably in this corner here. The reason I'm doing kind of a rough layout is because I have an idea for a porch that I think would work well. So let me see, I may have to draw these walls just out of, I don't want to spend a lot of time drawing these walls. So let me see if I can just draw these walls right quick with making a quick, let's see, 8-foot framed wall. Okay, let's load that. Let's see what that does. Which side? Yeah, that's on the right side. There we go. And why am I up in the air? Why am I? Oh, somehow I got up. Let's undo that. Somehow I got up in the air. Let's do that again. Let's start out down here low. Wall. 8-foot framed wall, load. Let's start down there. There we go. That's cool. And then we would have one, let's see, we want to do our long walls first. So we'd want to do this next wall right here. I have to close this, and I'm getting used to the new Medique wall for 2020. He made some, I can't load. He made some changes, and which are cool. All of his extensions are really awesome, and you can see what kind of time they can save you. Especially if you're like me and you want to, you want to do these material takeoffs, and the way you can make it easier. Doing the material takeoffs is that you draw all the studs and all the materials that you're going to actually have on the job. You draw them. And can I draw another one? Oh, I got it. Okay. Do I have to load that every time, or will it? I think it's the way I'm doing it is this. It's designed so that you just keep drawing in, linearly. You draw your walls. The way I've laid it out, they're all kind of segmented. So I just kind of restart it each time. 8-foot frame wall, load. I'm going to hit the load button whether I need to or not. It just makes me, what in the world? Where did I get to? That was weird. There we go. That's really, that's what's funny, is that would be all your walls on the inside. Now let's put some doors in. We'll see how this works. I don't have my, I wonder how intuitive this thing is. I don't have my center lines marked on the doors. Let's see what it will do. Door. So these only need to be 30, let's see, feet and inches, 2 feet, 8 inches. We want typically we'll use 2 2x10s just because that's the way it goes. And right now we're just going to put, that's pretty intuitive. I didn't have to do much there. Okay. It felt like it, yeah, it centered itself. That's cool. So you can see how awesome that is. And then this door, let's see what we want to do here. Let me get out of this for a second. This door would be on this end here, and it would swing in towards your vanity. So that door would be a 2/6 door. Let's go back to our doors. 2'6", because the bathroom door is 2'6", and we'll put it right there. That looks good. And that's your 3 doors. Oh, our closet door. Now, in the closet door, I think what you're going to want to do here is just make it like probably a 5-foot door. You probably want, now one thing I thought was you could build a little closet on the end of this for linens or something. You could get fancy if you wanted to, but I think what might be best is just keep it simple and make this door big enough to where you can get to the hole inside of this closet. Let's see, door, so we're going to make it 60. Oh, he wants it in feet, 5 feet. Okay, and we'll see if we can center it. Where's the center? There we go. Now see, I think you can reach, yeah. See, if you had shelving in there, you could get back to that back end corner on each side. That's good enough. All right, so now I can delete all my construction lines I had. Oh, I know what's wrong. They're in that group. We can clean that up. Come on, erase, erase. And now I can turn off my let's see, did I put that? Did I put that in that? No, I didn't. So if I turn off this floor plan, if I turn off this plan, oops. Oh, I gotta turn on my floor sheeting. And then turn on, let's see, go up here, floor, subfloor, there we go. But you can see that's basically all your walls. And this gives you a neat bedroom area, big enough. This is a standard spec house bedroom. Gives you closet, bathroom, and what you would do is you would put a door here and here, and that way if you had guests, which I'm going to suggest can be, you'd have like a sofa bed. You can have a sofa that makes a bed. So in effect, you could sleep, 4 to 6 people in this thing if you want to. Now, the next thing I wanted to kind of show, see if I have any comments or questions. What? No comments or questions? You people are boring. I'm just kidding. So, the thing I was going to try to come up with next is kind of a cool roof for this, because Unlike container homes that are boring and rusty cans and will kill you if you lived in them long enough because there's no way to get fresh air in there. I'm just kidding. I'm voicing all my hate for container homes, but you can see what we've done with just a few, with what, 30 or 40 studs on these inside walls, some plate material, some headers. I mean, it's nothing, right? You would have framed up these walls anyway on the inside of your rust bucket, just to get your insulation requirements, you know. And this is one thing I harped on last time I talked about this was people, oh no, I'm just going to spray foam the walls. You have to have something to attach your drywall to unless you're going to paint the spray foam. And I can tell you right now, spray foam is ugly. You don't, it's not very pretty as a finished surface. Uh, you're going to end up putting nailers, which are called studs, on the inside, just like this, just like I've got shown right here. You basically would have your walls framed up. So my point is that for the price of that container, you can buy all this stuff. Okay, and it's new. It's freshly made. It's designed the way you want it. It's big enough to live in. Let me just demonstrate something here. I'm going to take this container. I'm going to move it over here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how much space you're losing. Okay, by using these crazy things. I'm going to move this back. Okay, so the inside of these containers is like 8 feet. It's a little less than 8 feet. Um, and by the time you frame them out, you basically have no room to live in there. So I don't know if that demonstrated that to you, but I would never waste my money on a shipping container. It's terrible. So anyway, so what I'm looking at now is an idea. Let's pop a few windows in here just for the fun of it. Because I want to bring up an idea. I want to bring up a point about windows. We'll just leave these alone. We'll just put them in the way they are for right now. Let's just put one. Can I get to the center of this room? Up there. Am I hit it right? It's okay. Other point I wanted to make about windows and doors is that the way we build is in sequence. There's a reason for the sequence. The sequence is you frame first, you do your sheeting, and then you put your house wrap on, your Tyvek, which is a miracle material. It allows water vapor to pass out of your building, which is created by you living in your building. If there's anything true about man-made climate, it's you farting inside of your bedroom. Okay, that's man-made climate change. Okay, but Tyvek allows water vapor to come out, but it doesn't allow water droplets, water molecules to go back in. Okay, so this is called science. Okay, just remember this is junk over here, and this is science right here. Okay, the other thing is when you put your windows in, okay, your windows have a flange, okay, and you tape, you install, do a search on Tyvek window installation, okay, Tyvek and Tyvek tape window installation. What you'll see is they cut this upper part at an angle that's raised up as a flap. We install our windows. When I say they, it's me, I'm a builder. We install our windows, we tape around them, and we lower that flap over the top flange, and that gets taped. It's all It's all very much a system. Okay, when you try to put a window in a container home, the best that I've ever seen anybody do is they'll cut a hole. They'll take a torch or a sawzall or something. They'll cut a hole, and you never see them. You never see how they install the windows. Never. If someone can show me a video of someone installing a window into a container home, I'd love to see it, because there's really no way to seal properly around a window. The only thing you can do is cut a hole big enough so that you can frame in a regular opening like this. Okay, say you cut a big swath of siding out of the side of a container, and you framed up your opening the way you were supposed to, and then you put your Tyvek around it and you taped it, and that's fine. But then you got to go back. It's really building in reverse. It's backwards thinking. Shipping containers are backwards thinking. It's like going and living in a cave again. And we moved out of caves, so sorry about that. So anyway, what we'd have here, we'd have our front door. Let's put our door in. We're going to call it 36. And we'll just leave everything else alone for now. And we're going to put it close to here because we don't want to waste any wall space. And we would just let that door open against. We'd probably move it. I usually put 3 2x4 widths here. I don't put them that close. As a matter of fact, I'm going to undo that and see if I can do it from this side so I can see. Put it right there. Yeah, that's more like it. You want a good space. You want space when you're framing these. You really want 3 2x4s. You want a stud. You would have a stud right here that's your T. They don't really put this extension doesn't put the T's in the wall, which is how you join 2 walls together. So you'd have 1.5 inches there. Then you'd have your king stud and your jack. So you'd have 4.5 inches here. And that gives you room to put on a wide trim and still have a little corner there, drywall. But your door would swing back this way, and that's an efficient use of space. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do was to have a big. I might want to waste. I'm assuming that the reason we oriented our shipping container-like home in this direction is because we had a view. And I'm going to say the view is probably on the end. So let's see, let's put us a window. And the nice thing about these windows is that we can change them. Let's make it, what can we make? Let's make it 2 3-footers, so we'll call it 6 foot by 4 foot 6. That's a nice proportion, I think. And we'll see if we can't get it in the center. Is that the center? Like that. So that's going to be your view. That's going to be your one kind of splurge when you're sitting in your living area here. You still want to have a little wall space on each side, especially for this idea of putting your wood stove right here in this corner, and your sofa, and a coffee table, whatever. And you'd have enough room to put another chair, like a lounge chair with your beer cooler next to it. Let's see if anybody's. Also caulk when installing. Yeah, I'm not, you're right, New York Outcast. I'm not really explaining the entire, that's why I said go watch the Tyvek video, because it's really good. It shows caulking them around before you install your windows, and then you got caulk behind the flange and then tape over the flange. And yeah, that's exactly, I guess what I was trying to do in a really quick way is show people how much easier it would be just to frame up their own tiny home and have more space and save money. But the internet doesn't always like that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do here is just, I'm going to put that same size. We're going to pretend like we have a view both ways. And honestly, I don't like putting a lot of large windows in homes. I like putting, let's see, let's center this one over that pier right there. Yeah. I don't, because your windows are your largest energy efficient. Not inefficient, they're not efficient. So your R value of your glass is like maybe 1. It depends on what kind of window you buy, how much you. Most people don't spend that kind of money on windows, and so the more glass you have, the more heat loss and heat gain you're going to have. Okay, so let's just say we have an egress window. Let's say this window makes egress. The other thing is in your bedrooms, you want to leave at least 2 walls for furniture, because you know how women are. They're going to want to come in here and say, should bed go here or should the bed go here? That kind of thing. So you don't want to put windows on every wall in a bedroom unless you're going to put a bed in front of the window, which is fine, I guess. But mainly my thing is you want to have enough light. You want to have natural light in every room. As a matter of fact, I put windows in my potty rooms. Yes, I do. But I put a small one. Usually I'll make it smaller than this, but usually I'll make it 2'8" by 2'8". Usually a smaller window. And that'll go right above the toilet. Right there somewhere. And that's really kind of big looking. Now that I look at that, I can't remember. I know these 28 by 28 windows I buy, these vinyl awning windows, which are really cool. I like to put in my bathrooms, but I would make it so it just, it needs to be 30 by 30, not 32. Or it needs to be 30 by 30, 2.6 by 2.6. Because you just want it to be over the toilet space. You want to leave this wall space for your vanity, your mirror, medicine cabinet, whatever, and then this is your shower space. Your shower goes on that end. So the point is you got natural light in every room, okay? But you don't want to, this is kind of, this is really kind of going overboard, but I'm trying to give in a little bit here on the design issues. Because, and what's funny is you'll see people cut big holes in these containers, and then they'll expect that top channel to carry the load of their roof, and it really won't. The channels on the tops of these containers are really small. They're not that big, okay? They've got a big channel down here to carry the floor load, but the containers are not designed to carry loads except on the corners. You see, they have these corner posts that when they're stacked on top of each other, these are like the connection areas. They use these areas to put bracing rods. When they stack them up, they have these big rods that they brace them off with, and they attach them to the ship with. So they have devices they attach the bottom to the ship, and then these other holes attach the containers together. But then they also allow these big rods to come down, and sometime look that up, search that. It's really interesting. But the point is that they're not designed to carry loads. The roof, and I'll just demonstrate this right quick. When you stack a container, there's actually a gap between. You see, there's a gap between the floor of the one above it and the roof below it. This roof is not carrying any load, okay? This floor carries the load of everything inside you might have 60, 70,000 pounds in a container, but that floor carries all of it. The roof carries none of it, okay? So when you start building a house on top of a container, you really need to reinforce. And you have to, your building inspector is going to come and say, well, where's the header on your windows? Okay, so you're basically going to have to do all this framing that you would have to do anyway. And that's really the whole point I'm trying to make. So the next thing I want to do is I got this cool idea for a porch, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on the floor of the porch, but I think I'm not sure if. Let me see if I got any questions. I'm sure you know Tony, just pointing it out for the rest. Oh yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you, New York Outcast. Standard windows are crap. It's always good to get, yeah. Now I like, there's a window company called YKK, and it's kind of a builder secret. You don't see them like if you go to your standard, is it YKK? You don't see these if you go to your standard builder. That's not it. Not YKK. What is it? Is it YKK Windows? Yeah. Okay. I thought for a minute I was thinking zippers. That's funny. Um, okay. I don't want this. I don't want this. Can I not just go to the? Oh, dadgummit. No. I hate websites that do that. Don't you? Oh my God. Now I can't even get out of it. Anyway. Now I don't like them anymore. But anyway, uh, there's some really good vinyl windows in the industry right now that are really have good ratings, but they're affordable. Okay, and but if you go buy these cheap vinyl windows that leak like a sieve, you're going to need big roof overhangs on your house just to protect your windows. Just from leaking. Let's go back and see. Let's see, custom isn't much more. It's comes lifetime break. Let's see, standard windows are yeah. Yeah, I would never buy windows at like a big box store. I'll buy framing lumber, all day long from Home Depot and Lowe's, but actually I buy it from my local lumber yard. But uh, sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I just want to run in and get something, I'll go to Home Depot. But windows and doors, I order through my lumber. For a long time, I was a Marvin guy back in the day when they were making wood windows. Back in late '70s, early '80s, we were still using wood windows. Marvin made some really good wood windows, and then for a while, I felt like Pella did a decent job, but Pella came out with their Pro line windows, and they're junk. They're like the crappy builder, spec builder grade. So you have to be careful. Even Anderson has a cheap, you have to almost go to like Anderson Eagle, a line of windows before. But if anybody ever wants any kind of advice on windows and doors, I can help out with that. But with this, my point with this whole exercise is to show that you really want to, do your framing, your sheeting, your house wrap, and then install your windows and then your siding. But I had this idea for a porch, and I'm not sure if it would come all the way out to the edge. Let's just say it does. And I'm just going to draw a quick thing here. I want to see how far this comes over. If I were to come to here, because I like using 21 feet. So I don't know. Let's just show it coming in there. Maybe it's 22. 22 feet seems to be a little bit big. But then, it would come out this way. Maybe, let's see, 10 feet. Something like that. Okay. And then you would have steps coming down there. But then what I want to do is I'm going to try out this Medique roof extension. What? What? Let me save this right quick. I've never seen that message before. That was weird. Some kind of exception. Oh. Are we still live? Fix now. Don't panic. Everything's okay now. Okay. That was weird. Am I still? Sometimes I'll get a situation where I get that black screen, and then what'll happen is the video part will freeze, but the audio will keep going. But anyway, hopefully that hasn't happened. But one of the cool things about let me see if I can make a group out of this porch right quick. If I can grab just that. See if I can get lucky. I think I did. Because I think I'm going to have to, the reason I'm saying that, I think I'm going to step this porch down. Might even be a step, but I don't want to do that. But I think if my idea pans out here, let me see, let's see, how long, let's see, let me just do this. I'm going to try something real quick. They have the roof truss and rafter extension from Medique is really cool. And I was playing around with this shed roof idea earlier. Let's see if I can get this to work right. If I can go to there, and go to here. Uh-oh, I think I did that wrong. Yeah, I was supposed to go. Let me start over again. Roof rafters. Nope, shed roof. Yeah. I want to pick this point. Then I want to pick this point. Then I want to go all the way to here. Why is it backwards? What am I doing wrong here? Let me see something right quick. So I need to go this way. Start over here. No, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Yeah, I want to go this way. For some reason, let's start down here. I wanted like a sloped roof. Let's see, I might have to move my door over. I wanted a sloped roof to go over the porch and hang over. Let me try this one more time. I'm trying not to make this too hard to watch. You go there. I'll go here. There we go. I'm trying to back up so I can see where I'm going. There we go. There, okay. So now what I want to do is okay. I think it kept the settings from when I was playing with it before. Let's just do this, okay. What did it do? Yeah. I was coming up with this idea where you would have a roof that would be a single slope going that way, but it would hang over enough to cover the porch there, like that. But then you'd have to build this wall, this wall would be built up to there. And then what you would do is build another one to give it some interest. You would build one going this way. So that this would be something you'd have to kind of work out. It would probably take longer. Shed roof. Is this going to slope the right way? Yeah. So this one would slope this way. And go, well, see, it keeps wanting to change on me for some reason. It starts out sloping the way I want it to, and then it changes. let's put me a line across here, right here, construction line, and then maybe if I go in this direction, it won't give me a hard time. Okay. Yeah, that's what I need to do. And then now this one wouldn't have the weird overhang. It would just have 24 inches there, and so the rest of it should be okay. Okay. So you can have these alternating. Yeah, see, I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know. But what you'd have to do is, the point is that you could come up with a cool roof design that was real simple. So all you would have is just single slope roofs, you know, but your walls would be, what you'd have to do, and what I'd have to do with this extension is I'd have to separate these walls in order to frame it all the way up to there. But that's what you do. I mean, you could build standard height walls and then add to them, but the best thing to do would be to build this wall up to there in one piece and make the wall stronger. But I don't know. You see, the options are unlimited, really, on your roof. But what this would do is give you a little porch. You'd have steps coming up here. You know, you'd really have to kind of let this all play out. You'd have to draw all the siding, all the, what I may do is look at some other ideas, come up with some roof designs, and then maybe in another video, another live stream, work on that. See if I have any other comments or questions. Let's see. Always custom or windows half the one in the store aren't even rated. Yeah. You got to be careful on your window ratings because especially the wind and air leakage and moisture leakage. Sorry for the spelling. I got to get back to it. Oh, okay. Thanks, New York Outcast, for coming and participating. I appreciate it. And so the point, and I'm going to have to probably do the material list thing. How long have I been going here? Where does it say? I wish it would say really easily here, but probably going a little bit too long for the first one. But I was just trying to give an idea of, well, let's put this, where's my roof layer? Let's do this. Did I have another roof? Yeah, this is where I was playing with it before. Let's get rid of that one. And we'll put these two in our roof. And then what we'll do is, we'll turn that off so we can see. Okay, let's just look and count. Do we have enough time? What I was going to do is count all the studs, count the floor joists. Okay, well, I can tell you this. We figure one stud per linear foot, and what that does is your studs are on 16-inch centers. But if you figure one for every foot, you'll have extra studs for like your corners, your tees, your trimmers, and so you get kind of close. It gets you close. It's not perfect. But if we did that, we would have 40 and 40s 80 and 12, and so 24, that's 104, 104. Then we got 12, 24, 128. Then we got, let's just say, that's 136 and 146. So let's say we have 150 studs. Okay, that's a fair number. I can tell you right now, you can buy those for about $3.50 a piece at Home Depot. and excuse me if I did this in a previous video. I'm gonna try to remember what I've done, but studs. And what I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to do a complete framing list because people will argue with me about this. Yeah, 356 for 92 5/8 studs. Okay, so right there, let's get our calculator out. Somebody's trying to call me too. Haiti, oh my God, Haiti. Hello?
Hello. This is an alert from your credit card department with important changes to your credit card account. On your excellent payment history and good credibility, you now qualify for lower interest rates. You must respond immediately and get to it.
It literally said Haiti. Haiti. H-I-T-O. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Alright, so you get these credit card offers all the time. It's annoying. If we had 150 studs times 3.5, that's $525, okay, for the studs for this whole thing. Now, you would have plate material, so what you would do is come up with your linear footage again. As a matter of fact, you basically can take the 150 and multiply it 150 times 3, 450 divided by, we buy 16 footers for plates. Well, now in this case, I'd probably buy, I'd buy 16. So that's 30, 2 before 16. You see where I'm going with this? I would find, my 16 footers, I think they're about $7, $8 a piece. So that's another $300. So we're up to let's say $900 for the 2 befores to frame the walls. Now for sheeting, we've got another, let's see, 40 and 40. So that's 8, let's see, I'm sorry. That's 10, 20, 26 sheets to go around, and let's say it's $8 a sheet. 26 times 8, 26 times 8, 26 times 8 equals 208. So what are we up to? $1,200. We'd have 2x10s for our headers. Another couple $100. Let's just say, to be fair, I'm just gonna say $1,500 for all the wall framing and sheeting. Okay, and a roll of Tyvek is 150 feet long, and you can go around this entire house with one roll. It's around $100, I think, the last time I checked. Okay, now let's look up 2x10s. I think you see where I'm going with this. I could spend probably another hour and come up with the roof cost, the rafters, the decking, the Advantech. Advantech's kind of expensive. It's like $32 to $38 a sheet, but I'll go ahead and pay that because it's such an advanced material. All of that would be less, okay, than buying a container. That gives you nothing. It gives you nothing. It gives you a rust bucket. Okay. Now, in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and put some windows and doors and finish the roof, and then we'll put the siding on. I'm going to put siding on here that looks like it's called R panel. You can look it up. It looks like the same. It's got the same profile as the containers have on them, on this side thing. And so it's just a way to, if you really want your house, if you really want to, kind of make it look like you've got a container home, which I think is kind of silly, but if you do, then you like that kind of thing, then there's siding that you can buy that after you've gone through this properly and put all your, your framing, your Tyvek, all your windows up are all properly done and taped and caulked, and then you put your siding on. Your house literally should be able to withstand rain without any siding on it. Okay, your siding is like a rain screen. Okay, that's how you should approach your house. You should approach the way you build. All your joints on your Tyvek would be taped. Everything would be sealed up. After you put your doors and windows in and you got your roof on, your house would survive probably 5-10 years that way. Okay, siding is just a rain screen. It's an aesthetic rain. It aids in keeping rain out of your house, keep the weather out of your house, but it's not what people think it is. Okay, and the function that it serves is supposed to be less of a function than what people give it credit for. So you think you're buying a house when you're buying a container, and really you're not. You're just buying a big rust bucket. So anyway, this will be the end of. Let me see if I've got any more comments on here. The other thing is, right at the end of this video, I want to address one thing. I'm going to go to my website, and I want to address this issue of knowledge base or qualifications. And I think you have to kind of do this. It's kind of silly that you have to do this, but you kind of do. You don't need to. I guess you don't need to see my Kentucky Colonel thing. I'll put that in there just for the fun of it. But here's my building inspector certification back in 1989. Yes, all the way back in 1989, I was a certified building inspector. Okay, probably before most of these people, youngsters, building these container homes. Here's my National Association of Home Builders certificates. I've got 2 of those for 2 different things. This is my national assessment where I passed the legal exam for a contractor's exam. This is where 1990 I helped the Red Cross. They asked me to help with evaluating flood damage so that they could get FEMA money to get that there. This is a rehabilitation inspector certification, another certified building inspector certification 3 years later from my building inspection certification. This is my certificate from my high school days when I went to a building trade school, 1,050 hours, 2 years basically. I went half a day to high school and half a day to my building trade school. We built 2 homes in that period. I'm a member of the Construction Specifications Institute. That's that. And then I'm also, let's see, I guess it's next, but this is a DPIC. This is a certification program for professionals. They have to maintain a certain educational level to be insured on a professional level. All you architects and engineers know about DPIC. Okay, this is my project management boot camp. What year was this? This was back 2001. Unfortunately, this was right before 9/11 because we flew into Logan International Airport and to go to this boot camp in Boston. And anyway, that's a long story. Here's my construction documents technologist certification. I was a spec writer for a large architecture firm for years. I actually won an award for one of the projects I wrote specs for there. That's that. Is that the end? So I guess I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to show that there are ways to. So my approach to this profession is to always learn, always. If it's like today and I have a rainy day and we're not working on a job, I'll research technology. I research new building materials. Always learning. Okay, always. Okay. It doesn't matter how many certifications I have. The idea and the philosophy of an artisan is to always have an open mind. But when you have expertise in something, you have to share that. Okay, so when I'm online and I see people making homes out of these, crappy containers, I feel like I got to show them that they're wasting their time and money with these things, and that's all it is. I mean, I'm just letting people know that when when you see these things, to ask, question. You should be questioning everything. The mentality that some people have, that just because someone's a big YouTuber and they're doing something that it's correct or proper, there's some kind of syndrome there on YouTube that really shouldn't be that way. If you see something and it seems odd, you should question it, and you shouldn't feel like that you can't question these things. If you want to question this, question away. Say, what about this? What about that? I'll be happy to answer questions. But if you go to these, I've gone to other, and tried to, other videos or whatever, and tried to offer advice, and you just get lambasted by their fans, like these people are gods or something. It's just really silly. And it's just, there's no intellectual honesty. There's very little intellectual honesty on YouTube. So what I'm trying to do is show you that here's a way, if you want a tiny home and you want it to look like a container, here's a way to do it. Make it, a decent width, an efficient width, have some room to live in there, make it cheaper, make it more efficient, make it more energy effective. This home, after I get through with this home, it's going to be 10 times better than a container as far as energy efficiency. Okay. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox for now. Let me go back to see. Let's see. Nuba Mashta. But thanks. I'm not trying to sit here and brag about my certifications. What I'm trying to do is have a lot of people, if I ask a question about, something, they will act as if I am, basically the response you get on YouTube is, and it's not actually from the people. I remember when I made a video about, what was her name? April Wilkerson. April Wilkerson didn't have a problem with anything I was asking. I made a video on a better way to build a carport than she was building. And she's this cute girl. She's a hot girl, and she's building things. Well, of course, all these horny young teenagers were fanboys, and they jumped on me like crazy. And all I was trying to say was, well, here's the way you can build a carport without spending a lot of time and money, and it's stronger. But I remember that, and it's just, I don't know. I think I have PTSDs from that, but I shouldn't have said that. That's putting lightly. I don't want to make light of PTSD, but I'm saying that I still remember the response I would get. And then just recently with this other YouTuber that I kind of questioned the roof system on, again, the fans came out in droves, and I basically had to turn the comments off of that video. So what I thought I would do is just do a positive series here on showing people how they can do it and save money, and then but still have a more energy efficient home, have space to actually live, and all that. So I think that's positive. Let me turn my little roof on here. And then, so in the next video, I'm going to try to work out some kind of roof that's kind of simple and easy to build, but also cool looking, And I'll check the comments one more time. If there's no other questions, we'll cut it here, and then we'll start again next time. If you have any questions, or you want to see something like James did earlier today on one of my other videos, he asked a question about the sheeting, why I set the walls in, excuse me, and make the sheeting flush with the floor framing, and I explained that earlier in the video. But if you have questions like that, go ahead and leave them, and I'll include them in the next video. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.